tonight. How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds leave the very best. There's a time for everyone if they only learn that the twisting kaleidoscope moves us all in turn. There's a rhyme and reason to the wild outdoors. Then the heart of the star-crossed voyager beats in time with yours. Can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we got this far. And can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds leave the very best. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds leave the very best.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be torn There's a hero. If you look inside your heart, you don't have to be afraid of what you are. There's an answer. If you reach into your soul, and the sorrow that you know will melt away. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. It's a long road when you face the world alone. No one reaches out a hand for you to hold. You can find love if you search within yourself, and that emptiness you felt will disappear. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. The strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you finally see the truth, that a hero lies in you. That a hero lies in you. That a hero lies in
Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung incomplete.
Well, on behalf of Gwen, myself, our family, I would like to thank and welcome you all, good friends and family, to celebrate Gwen's long and illustrious voice life. Firstly, I would like to thank all of those who helped me get through this, what has been the most difficult time ever in my life, without whom I could not possibly have coped. The number of things to do and arrange simply would have been overwhelming to me, and it would have meant that I would not have been able to spend much time with Gwen. I had great support from Steve, who helped me through this difficult period and spent the last few nights with Gwen in the hospital, and also his wife Kate, who provided many of the pictures of Gwen that you are watching on the screen. To Lorna for her tremendous help. She was in arranging so many things to be done for this service. I couldn't have possibly managed without that. And also husband Nick, who made contact with so many friends and family who lived further away, several from the mainland. And also Gwen's brother, Gerald, usually known as Scrub, and his wife Anne, for coming just about every day to the hospital to give us support. And also Gwen's brother Tim, who arranged things at the Bowls Club and the refreshments later. I would also like to acknowledge the lifelong friendships we've enjoyed with Val and Don Cocker and Heather and Lyle Rubach. Val started school with Gwen when they were little girls at Boat Harbour and have been friends ever since. Don's parents, when we arrived from the other side of this planet, invited my parents, sister and brother and myself to stay with them in their home until we had a home to move into, for which we were ever grateful. Heather and Lyle lived close to us at Upper Burney when Gwen and Heather helped each other at stressful times or when a new baby was imminent. And I must say that Don, Lyle and I were good fishing mates, and we had lots of fishing trips together. Sometimes to the Great Lake, other times to up in the mountains behind Mole Creek. Now, I feel it's time to tell you about how our long lives started together. My parents and siblings came by boat from the UK, arriving in Hobart in early February 1952. After a few days, we moved to Burney, where employment opportunities were more likely. We went to the Bank of Australasia, to which my parents' assets had been transferred, and the manager asked me if I'd got a job, which I had not at that time. He asked me what I did, and then offered me a position as a clerk in the bank, which I readily took. Shortly after we moved from that branch diagonally across the road to the newly formed ANZ Bank, where a young lady named Gwendolyne Elsie Ridge was a ledger machine operator. She wasn't one of those silly, giggling, Gertie types of girls, which there were so many in those times. She was slim, attractive, sedate, and very sensible. And these are the qualities which one should be looking for in a potential lifelong partner. In those times, radio and cinema were the only sources of entertainment. So I ventured to ask if she would like to go with me to the cinema, which she said yes, and we started to go regularly. Often on my motorbike, we would go to parts of Tassie that we had never been to before, and Gwen learned to ride it competently. She introduced me to her parents, and often at weekends were spent at Boat Harbour, where she would help her mum with many younger siblings. Her brother Brian and I would offer local farmers above the Boat Harbour beach area to offer to clear uncleared early sloping land above the beach, and we'd grow early Bismarcks, pumpkins, and put the profits away for the future. We got engaged and eventually tied the knot on the 1st of May 1954, the start of a very long-lasting life together. And when Lorna and I were looking for some documents, we came across this poem which Gwen had kept in the top of her bedside drawer. I just feel that she left it there for us to find and to read at this celebration of her life. And it is called "Death is Nothing at All. I have only slipped away into the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in an easy way which you always used to. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we had always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household work it always was. Let it be spoken without effort, without a trace of shadow on it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is unbroken continuity. Why should be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am waiting for you in an internal, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. And now I would like to hand over to our grandson Isaac, who has graciously agreed to deliver his grandmother's service. Thank you, Isaac.
Thanks, Pop. Really, I have agreed, but it is an honour and a privilege to deliver this on behalf of Nan and the family, so thank you. Born and bred of good stock and integrity, Nana lived a good life that I can't imagine she would ever want to have changed, becoming the daughter, sister, wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and great-great-grandmother, and friend of so many. Amazingly, like all her siblings, she was brought up at the family home on a small farm at Boat Harbour. She was the eldest daughter and the second child of Tasman and Edith Ridge, and she herself was known by the unusual nickname of Fatty. But as we know, the Ridge family was a little inclined towards unusual nicknames that stuck for life, and personally, I can't remember them all, but there's plenty out there in the audience today, I'm sure. Her mum and dad, Pop and Nana Ridge, were hardworking people, a trait passed on to Nana. My Nan remembers spending a lot of each day just simply washing clothes or heavy manual work, and Nan would help carry the load by hanging things out on the line and supporting parents in a large way. And as more children came along, Nan became almost a de facto mother when the youngest few were born. Times were tough in those days, being brought up in the post-Depression and Second World War era. It always amazes me how the family managed to survive in those times, and I guess partly because they're on a farm and they could be nourished by the produce of the land, they got along well. Sometimes they survived just on income generated by trapping rabbits for their fur, and no doubt everybody got pretty sick and tired of eating rabbit stew all the time. Nana Ridge created a warm family environment, and despite the challenges of bringing up 15 children over 30 years, Nana took on the same attitude, with her family being her major priority in her life, giving all to meet her family's needs. Her life changed a lot over the years, from riding a pony to school as a child, to in later years driving a Lexus with leather seats as a retiree. She saw a change from long drop dunnies out the back of the houses to living in a house with multiple flushing toilets. That's a real nice change. I'm not sure how he did it, but Taz managed to afford to pay for Nana and Pat to go to the Methodist Ladies' College in Launceston from the age of 11. He also sent Gus to Launceston Grammar. And by the age of 15, Nan was playing in the school's first hockey team, and in 1948 she was selected to go to Melbourne to play hockey against other private schools in a tournament. While she was there, she was fortunate to go and watch the AFL Grand Final, where there was an enormous crowd of 86,000 people at the time, which was a really special event that Nana remembered for a young girl from Boat Harbour. Nana was an exceptionally good hockey player herself, and for a few years was fortunate to play coastal hockey with both Rosie and Lorna. She was also a great badminton player, something that I was not aware of until later in life. I also played some badminton, so maybe it passed down. She and Pop always encouraged their children to play sport, and there was always parents on the sidelines. Nan completed her commercial course alongside Year 11 and 12, and won prizes for her efforts, which then helped her obtain work in the ANZ Bank, as Pop mentioned, first in Launceston before being transferred to Burnie within a year. It was in the workplace that she met Pop, Michael, who was working in another bank just up the street, but not long that merged, and Pop serendipitously merged across and worked in the same bank as Nan. As Pop described, the inevitable friendship and courtship developed, culminating in their marriage on May the 1st in 1954. And that is coming up to their 70th wedding anniversary next year. I'd like now to add some words from Pop. Nan and Pop first lived in Somerset in a small one-bedroom cottage over which the bank had an unpaid mortgage. Rent, although it was small, helped to pay off the loan. They lived there for about 2 years, but before long there was 3 extra mouths to feed. It's a bit of a tight squeeze, so they applied for a government home which they got at Upper Burnie. Soon 2 extra mouths arrived, so they then had to extend the back bedroom by 12 feet for the 3 boys, and Lorna and Rosie had the other bedroom. A garage was built for the car, as there was no more motorbikes at that stage. Pop put in a new driveway and cement paths all around the house. By the time they moved into their new home, Pop had lost his father to a serious stroke and his sister Lorna to stomach cancer when only 26. In 1960, Pop lost his mother, who died from breast cancer at the age of 60. Death duties were payable at that time on both estates and assets at a rate of 30%, and Pop and Uncle Martin inherited what was left. This allowed them to pay off the bank home. Pop further said, on sale of the house in 1965, they purchased a fairly run-down farm at Boat Harbour, which went right to the water edge. It had 2 gullies through it, but there was potential to store irrigation, water and dams there. The frontage had about 5 acres of dead ferns, stems as thick as your finger, at least 1 metre high, and these were fern hooked down and burnt. One day, Nan's sister Lynn helped with this. If you've been on a fern hook, you know that it's pretty tough work. It was a big job, and Lynn certainly wouldn't have forgotten about it. Then there were 2 horses and a hillside to plough, which Pop Ridge and Pop Poole used to grow Bismarcks, early Bismarcks, with the irrigation providing really good crops. Everybody enjoyed a healthy life there on the farm. As the boys got older, they would go to other farms where rabbit warrens were a problem, and they'd use their ferrets to net the rabbits as they chased them out. The boys would also go fishing along at Brandy Creek for small trout or for sea fish on the farm over the frontage. Nan cooked the rabbits and fish for nourishing meals. Pop Ridge sadly passed away in the 1980s, and a huge void was left in Nan's life. He was a constant at the farm as Nan and Pop Ridge got half the profits of the vegetables they grew together. One of the important qualities that Nan had was the ability to give time to anyone who needed it, despite her own busy life and being very time poor herself. Her kids were always bringing friends home to the farm. Her busy working life had little room for the extras that tended to pop up. They were commonly present, but she said, well, at least she knew where the kids were and that they were safe and not getting into any trouble. Pop said it was important to Nan and himself that the children all had a very good education. So they attended Marist College in Burnie after finishing primary school at Boat Harbour. Once a week, Nan volunteered at the Marist College Library with Beth Liotta. As they weren't of Roman Catholic faith, the school fees put quite a bit of financial pressure on them. And then, in the mid-70s, Alan and Bruce started university. It was then that Nana's Aunt Lou retired from working with the elderly at the Spencer Hospital over in Wynyard, and she was asked if she knew anyone that could replace her. She thought Nan may be interested, which he was. Pop was reluctant about this, but she insisted that it was only part-time. She would like to be there and work. And it was there that Nan worked with a friend, Mel Rigby, who was a nursing sister, and they got on like a house on fire. Nan and Mel had several 5 to 6 week long trips overseas where they visited New Zealand, USA, Canada, France, UK and Ireland. Ireland was her favourite destination, and along the way Nan has made some very close and loyal friends who worked at the home, and they've become her lifelong friends. Pop and Nana sold the farm at Boat Harbour and Calder around 1986, and they then moved to Hampshire, concentrating just on the cattle, while Nan still travelled sometimes to Wynyard to work, staying with her mother, Aunt Pat and Uncle Tim in Wynyard. In 1994, Nan and Pop sold Hampshire as Pop had a family history of heart failure, with none of his male predecessors living above 60 years of age, and he was concerned that should he join them, he didn't want Nana trying to cope with so much land and cattle to dispose. So they retired to Shearwater, where Lorna and Nick lived, and they liked the area. They purchased a waterfront home, which some of you will remember. I particularly remember the waterbeds. Nana Ridge often stayed with Nana and Pop and would love to sit in the front sunroom watching the people come and go. When Nana Ridge passed away, they were able to spend about 5 to 6 years in their camper van in the warmer mainland winters. They would spend considerable time visiting Rosie and Johnny in the Whitsundays in Queensland, and would go with them to the casino in Townsville and other venues where they sang and entertained so many people. One of the things Nana really enjoyed was to meet their good friends Lyle and Heather Rubach and Robin and Judy Aikman at a lovely little spot out at Hawley, where they would spend the evening enjoying a good feed of fish and chips and other niceties, along with lots of talk and laughter. Eventually Lyle and Heather moved away, and Robin sadly passed away. Nan and Pop still caught up with the three of them, possibly not as often as they would have liked due to age getting in the way. In retirement, Riggy, Mel Rigby, Anne Madden, Sue Good, and on occasions Anne Cocker and Nana would have a few days away together each year, most commonly at Lorna and Nick's place at Lulworth or Evandale or Birralee. She loved those trips and would come home with funny stories of their antics. They would always go in Nana's car, as she was a little bit of a nervous passenger. She told Lorna one day when she came home on one of their trips away that the police caught her speeding, but she didn't get a ticket. I think maybe the policeman knew that 4 elderly ladies couldn't get into too much trouble. Little did they know. On one of the trips together, they went to Melbourne, to Anne Madden's home, where they attended the 1999 Melbourne Cup. I can imagine Nana riding home the winner with great gusto. Sadly, one of Nana's biggest mistakes in life was to choose St Kilda to support. We can forgive her that. If that was her worst decision, it made all the rest pretty good. Nan was very proud of the fact that both her marriage and her children's marriages had stayed together, and Pop attributes this to the fact that they never had crosswords nor any rows or quarrels. But being Nan, she had her own opinions and would state them freely to Pop, but would be careful and tactful regarding others. The only people she was ever really critical of were politicians, both Liberal and Labor, and I can attest to having sat with her many times and discussed those very people. Nan did love spending time with her grandchildren and great-grandchildren and her two great-great-grandchildren. I can remember a fantastic party trick that Nan used to use when I was little, and since seen her do it with the grandkids, dropping her top false teeth out of her mouth a bit, which would have the kids in fits of laughter, and trying to copy it, which we never did with success. Perhaps when we're older and we also have falsies, we might be able to achieve that. Nana always had great love for her parents, brothers and sisters. She had great friendship with uncles, aunties and cousins. The ladies, her sisters, aunts and cousins, would sometimes have catch-up nights and were always full of laughs. It's safe to say that the humour was a very big part of the Ridge, Edward and Poke girls, and I think it'd also be safe to say that these are qualities that were admired by everybody. She expressed her love in deeds, not just words. In latter years, Nan was plagued with severe back problems, and it did limit her ability to take excursions out of the home. But if she could, she would make any important gathering or celebration, despite the inevitable pain that the action would incur. She never complained about her discomforts, and it's fair to say that she was in a great deal of pain at times. Due to her immobility as a result, and handing in her driver's licence, Nan really enjoyed her phone calls with Norma, keeping up with all that was happening in Wynyard, phone calls with her sisters and brothers, and with her friend Judy. Nan also always enjoyed her sport. She loved watching the AFL, she loved watching the cricket, and as she became more inactive, she also would love to sit and watch the horse racing. She would do as her father had once done, studying the race guides in the Herald Sun, and then would have her picks. She didn't gamble on them, but she enjoyed the studying and the watching, writing her choices all the way to the finish line. Towards the end, Bruce was able to engage a friend, Cherie, who came to the house weekly and attended to the housework with the exception of the tile floors, which Pop did, due to Nana's particularly high standards. Pop became chief cook and bottle washer in order that Nana had to do as little as possible on her feet. But now, Nana is resting peacefully, free of discomfort and pain. Nan leaves a legacy, I think, reflected by all the people today attending. And I thought I'd share a legacy that Nan leaves with me and my siblings, and perhaps it will resonate with others. Some of my earliest memories of Nan are actually with Nana Ridge at her place in Wynyard. Nan and Nana Ridge would be telling stories about growing up, about their history, about our family and our community, that from an early age gave me a sense of belonging to something bigger than just myself, a sense of family. As we grew older, the stories became even funnier and perhaps more risque. If you've heard Nan tell some of these stories, you'll know what I'm talking about. But always these stories help to cement family and our broader community as a really important part of our lives. In the later years, I was fortunate that my children got to see Nan. And then Auntie Lorna, continuing this legacy of storytelling and instilling a sense of belonging to the family that was so important. And I can see that there are others in the immediate family and broader family that are continuing that legacy, and I think it's a really important legacy that Nan leaves with us and with our direct family. It's a small thing, perhaps, but I think the ability to share stories that made us all laugh, that tied us all together, and form a really important part of my history and our history with Nan through the years is something to celebrate and to embrace. I'd like to now invite anyone else who would like to come forward and speak and share some brief moments of Gwen or Fatty or Nan or whatever you happen to call her. Please do feel free to come forward and share those.
Dad did a great job with the introduction. I'm a proud member of the Ridge family. My mum, my dad, everyone in this room knows or may not know that Rose and I were adopted. Auntie Pat was pregnant. Instead of handing the kids out to some total stranger, where they was kept within inside the Ridge family, and we were adopted into that family and raised like every other member of the family. And, you know, I like to say thank you to Mum for that. I like to say thank you to Dad for that, and Rose would like to say thank you. We're a part of that. We're not a part of perhaps so much of the big Poole family because they weren't as big a family, but still important. But part of that Ridge family, Nana and Pop, working on the farm, and we've all picked carrots down the farm and done those jobs, all worked hard. But Mum just didn't look after me and Rose and her own children. She looked after Nana Ridge. Put a lot of time into that. She looked after Auntie Pat, who suffered from epilepsy after me and Rose were born, was on a disability pension for all of her life. And Mum was always that go-to person to help her out. So that's my big thanks. And I know the other Ridge family members and people who know her would also say the same big thanks to helping Auntie Pat live a good and fruitful life. So thanks much for everyone for coming today. And Mum has continued that Ridge tradition, and we hope that will continue on with other members of the family, that we all stay connected to that bigger family scene. Thanks very much.
Don't know what you thought, but I didn't think anyone had changed in any of those photos we saw up there. Still the same handsome lot as everyone was when they were younger. Thanks Isaac, Dad and Stephen and everyone for coming. I've missed out a little bit on things personally over the last few weeks. Your mum went into hospital about 3.5 weeks ago. I came over with Alex and Julian just to see her before, probably the inevitable, and we wanted to talk to her and see how she was. But since that time, I've just been totally amazed as to how much support she's been given by my brothers and sisters, extended family, the scrub, Tim, everyone who's been around to help out. I think it's just been an amazing job that everyone has been able to support Mum day and night, make sure that she was comfortable, make sure that she was looked after well and supported in an amazing way so that she could die with dignity at the time. It's not a very dignifying thing to die. None of us look forward to it, and certainly all of us know it's going to happen. But just people being around her, I'm sure, told her that everyone loved her very much. And so, thank you very much for doing that.
Thanks for those words, and thank you everyone for joining this memorial service. The family would like to remind everyone that Nan will be interred at the Wynyard Lawn Cemetery, and following that, they'd like to invite everyone to the Wynyard Bowls Club for refreshments. Thank you for coming and sharing this special memorial. And if I could ask everyone, please, to stand now.
I pray you'll be alright and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
La luce che tu dai
I pray we'll find your light
nel cuore resterà
and hold it in our heart.
a ricordarci che
When stars go out each night,
eterna stella sei nella mia preghiera.
let this be our prayer.
Quanta fede c'è
When shadows fill our day,
lead us to a place,
guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe.
sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza, ognuno di una mano al suo vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dà
We ask that life be
il
kind
desiderio che
and watch us from above.
ognuno trovi amore
We hope it's all we'll find.
intorno e dentro sé.
Another soul to love. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer.
Just like every child,
Just like every child, need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe.
e la fede che hai acceso in noi. Sento che ci salverà.
heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. You don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew ya. Well, she tied you to her kitchen chair, she broke your throne and cut your hair, and from your lips she drew hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I've walked the floor. Used to live alone before I knew ya. But I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Our love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew ya. It's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not someone who's seen the light. It's a cold and broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
when hope was high and life worth living. I dreamed that love would never die. I prayed that God would be forgiving. Then I was young and unafraid. When dreams were made and used and wasted, there was no ransom to be paid. No song unsung, no wine untasted. But the tigers come at night with their voices soft as thunder, as they tear your hopes apart, and they turn your dream to shame. Still I dream he come to me, that we would live years together. But there are dreams that cannot be, and there are storms we cannot weather. I had a dream my life would be so different from this hell I'm living, so different now from what it seemed. Now life has killed the dream I dreamed. Quando sono sola sogno all'orizzonte e mancano le parole. Sì, lo so che non c'è luce in una stanza quando manca il sole. Se non ci sei tu con me, sì. Le finestre mostrar tutto il mio cuore che è acceso. Chiudi dentro me la luce che ho incontrato per strada. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò sulla vita per mari che io lo so, l'uomo non esistono più. It's time to say goodbye.
Quando sei lontana sogno all'orizzonte e manca le parole. E io sì lo so che sei con me, tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me. mio sole, tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te. Adesso sì li vivrò con te. Partirò su navi per mari che io lo so non esistono più. Con te io li vivrò, con te partirò su navi per mari che io lo so non esistono più. Con te io li vivrò, con te partirò.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream
Who can say for certain? Maybe you're still here. I feel you all around me, your memory so clear. Deep in the stillness, I can hear you speak. You're still an inspiration.